Hey, greetings. Michael DDA here. Thank you so much for joining me. We are continuing our adventure through Torah. Oh, I love talking about Jacob. Boy, so many neat things happened with Jacob. A couple weeks ago, we saw that he had left Haran. Laban followed him. Oh, I think he was going to try and take some things from Jacob, like all that he had. But Yehovah met Laban in a dream and said, don't do anything good or harmful to him. Well, that's all fine and good, but 2 weeks ago, then the last thing we saw was he kissed his grandkids goodbye and said, and took off. Well, the very next thing he did in Yasher, you don't see it in Torah, is that he sent his men, to Esau and told all kinds of lies to Esau to make Jacob look bad. Well, the messengers that he sent to Esau, for some reason, after they left Esau, maybe they weren't fired up by the fact that Laban was stirring the pot. Remember, he had made a covenant with Esau or with Jacob saying, we're not going to pass beyond this point for good or bad. Well, he broke the covenant immediately. Well, the servants that went to Esau went from there to Rebekah, to Isaac's camp, and told her what was going on. She sent messengers to Jacob at Makanaim. Well, it wasn't Makanaim yet, because it means the meeting of two camps. And we started our lesson last week by saying this. So Jacob went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. They're not angels. They're messengers from Isaac, sent by Rebekah to warn Jacob of what is happening, that Esau is coming with 400 men. This is God's camp. God's camp was the group of men. I think it was 70 men that she sent. Maybe it was 40. I think it was 70 men that she sent to warn Jacob. And then, of course, Jacob's got a large camp too. That's the two camps. This is God's camp, he said. Well, yeah, it is, because they're coming from Isaac, another follower of Yehovah. Remember, Jacob has the staff right now, so he's the Melchizedek, the highest authority in Yehovah's kingdom right now, the kingdom of the righteous men. Melchizedek, the king of righteousness. That's Jacob. Well, Jacob hears what's going on. He sends men to Esau to try and turn his attitude away. Well, it doesn't work. They come back and said, oh, we got problems, Jacob. And Jacob is very much afraid. Says he's greatly afraid and distressed. And he divided his people. Yeah, he divided two camps. He put two camps into the hands of two of Eleazar's sons with their seed to kind of guard his family. I picture it kind of one to the left, one to the right of Jacob. And we'll talk about that in a moment, kind of where things are at on the map, because I want you to see the map. I think it helps us to understand the big picture. So, if we drop down here, we talked about, no, let's talk about the present first. Jacob got word from his mom. We saw it last week in Yasher. She told him to speak with Esau with kindness, to give him presents. We're going to talk about that in a second too when we start our portion of Yasher, which we're going to start first. So he is sending a portion of what he got in Haran. Padam Aram is Haran. And it's going ahead of him to meet Esau on the road. 10 groves. Torah only says 3. Second and third, and all it says, and all who follow. So maybe they know it's 10, but they didn't say it was 10. Well, so now Jacob is going to put his family back across the Jabbok River. Let me talk about this for just a second. Here's the map. Here they are. They're probably at this ford right here. This is the King's Highway. Here it is right here. The King's Highway. I think the King's Highway probably gets its name from the 4 kings who came down from the north and took Sodom and Gomorrah and Admah and Zeboim and carried a lot of people away with them. And Abraham sent his group, 318 men, after these guys and destroyed them all. That's the King's Highway. I think that's where it got its name. So they're at the ford. Jacob and his family are on this side of the ford right now, but he's going to put his family back on the other side, and he's going to spend the night here. Well, he's got his men, I think, off to the left and off to the right of him. And of course, the droves that he sent ahead of him to meet Esau on the road. He wants them to stay apart. So they meet one and say, this is from my master and your servant, Jacob. And he wants you to have this to find favor in his eyes. So they're all instructed to say exactly the same thing. He's going to wrestle, it says, with an Ish that night. Let me go back. Remember, his family's on the north side. He's on the south side. He's going to wrestle with the Ish at night. Whoops, I want to go back to Torah. During this wrestling, I have to feel that this is a wrestling between the flesh and the spirit of Jacob. Is there another man there? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it says a man, an Ish. They want to put it in capital letters. They want you to think about forget all that nonsense. He is wrestling with flesh right now, and he's going to be injured in the middle of the night. And it makes it look like his hip is out of joint. But I want you to see that we're not talking about his hip. We're talking about his genitals. In particular, I think his testicles and the sac that holds them. He is apparently, it says they translate it as such as hip. But the word that they use is yarak. It's the soft part. The hollow is a soft part of his yarak. It's the yarak is, well, here, if you see how, it always helps to see how it's used. All the persons who went with Jacob to Egypt, who came from his yarak, this says loins, they translated as loins, they translated as hip. It's yarak. Loins is better. But we're talking about, where does the seed come from? The yarak. So in this, when we're talking about what potentially is happening, here it's talking about an inguinal hernia. That is a portion of the bowels dropping into the sac. Very uncomfortable, pain or discomfort in your groin, especially when bending over or coughing or lifting. He's hurt. Talk about moving slow. We're going to talk about the children. He needs to move slow right now. We're going to see this injury is going to affect him for the next several months as he's becoming or getting healed from it. So let's pick up where we're leaving off, and only we're going to go to Yasher to do it. So we're going to come back to here, and we're going to do 33, but first we're going to do Yasher. Here is Yasher. And it says, and at that time, Jacob sent messengers. These are Shelakim, men that he's going to send to his brother Esau, just like the messengers that Rebekah sent to him to warn him about what was going on with Esau, that he was coming with 400 men. He's going to send messengers to his brother Esau toward the land of Seir. And he spoke to him with words of supplication, just like his mother told him to do. Look what it says. And he did as his mother commanded him. What did she command? Supplicate him. Do not speak rashly to him. Give him a present of what thou possesses, and from what Elohim has favored thee with. He's doing exactly what she said. Good advice. Does that go along with honoring your mother and your father? I think it does. I think it does. And he commanded them, saying, thus thou shalt say to my Lord. Look at that. My Lord, Adonai. To Esau, my master Esau. Is he humbling himself? Isn't that what she said? Humble yourself too. Did she say that? Supplicate him. Didn't say humble yourselves, but he's humbling himself. Giving him honor. Supplicating him. Thus you shall say to Adonai, my Adonai. Well, it's Adonai is my master. My Adon, you could say. To Esau, thus says thy servant Jacob, let not Adonai imagine that my father's blessing, which thou did bless, which he did bless me, has proved beneficial to me. I have been these 20 years with Laban, and he deceived me and changed my wages 10 times. Oh, Laban deceived him constantly. Laban tricked him into doing an extra 7 years by giving him Leah first. He already worked 7 years for Rebekah, whom he wanted. Did it work to his good? Yes, it worked to his good, but he deceived him. Changed his wages 10 times. And I served him in his house very laboriously for 14 years. And Elohim afterwards saw my affliction, my labor, and the work of my hands, and he caused me to find grace and favor in his sight. And now, in the next 6 years, and I afterwards, through Elohim's great mercy and kindness, acquired oxen, asses, cattle, menservants, maidservants. And now I am coming to my land, to my land, to my home, to my father and mother who are in the land of Canaan. And I have sent to let Adonai know this in order to find favor in thy sight, in the sight of my Lord, Adonai. So he may not imagine that I have of myself obtained wealth, or that the blessing which my father blessed me has been beneficial to me. Remember, this is why he left already, because he got the blessing. And he sent his son, what was his son's name? Eliphaz, 13 years old, to chase after him. Well, 13 years old, it's 20 years later. Eliphaz now is 43 years old. And those messengers went to Esau and found him in the border of the land of Edom. Edom. Isn't that funny? They're calling it Edom. It's not Edom yet. It's going to be Edom eventually, but it's Seir, going towards Jacob with 400 men of Seir, the Horites' seed. Were standing with drawn swords. And the messengers of Jacob told Esau all the words that Jacob had spoken to him concerning Esau. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt. Oh, he's going to give back to Jacob the words that Laban spoke to him. Trying to think of that word last week that Wes came up with. Wes, are you there? He's playing a game. Okay. V, you came up with it too, but you were later on it. Anyway, Esau answered with pride and contempt and said unto them, surely I have heard, and truly it has been told me what Jacob has done to Laban. All of this is lies. You were going to tell us?
Protection?
No, it wasn't protection. Projection. Projection. The project. Yes, he's projecting. He's projecting. Saying the things that really just saying the actual opposite things of what actually happened. What Jacob has done to Laban? Oh, are you kidding me? Because Jacob was there. Laban got sons and more daughters, got wealth and land and flocks. Laban was blessed. Who exalted him in his house? Did Laban exalt Jacob and gave him his daughters for wives? Were the daughters given to Jacob, or did Jacob work 14 years for those two girls? You see the lies that are going on and the stirring up of emotions. And he begat sons and daughters and abundantly increased in wealth and riches in Laban's house through his means. It's all because Laban did this wonderful thing for Jacob. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled, and all belonging to him from Laban's house, and he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father as captives taken by a sword without telling him of it. Well, he did, because he knew Laban wasn't going to let him go. And not only to Laban has Jacob done thus, but also to me, as he unto me has he done so, and has twice supplanted me, and shall I be silent? Remember, we saw that Esau was the one who gave the birthright for a bowl of porridge. He didn't need the birthright anymore. He had the garments, and he was planning on ruling the world. And the blessing supplanted him twice. That's the blessing. The birthright and the blessing was never supposed to be him. It was always supposed to be Jacob's. Now, therefore, I have this day come with my camps to meet him, and I will do according to the desire of my heart. Does that sound like Esau's coming to bless Jacob? No, he's coming to take and kill and destroy. And the messengers returned and came to Jacob and said to him, we came to thy brother, to Esau, and we told him all thy words. And thus he answered us, and behold, he cometh to meet thee with 400 men. Now then, know and see what thou shalt do, and pray before Elohim to deliver thee from him. I think that this is what the wrestling is going to do tonight. It's all about his flesh versus his spirit, his fear versus his faith. And when he heard of his brother, which he had spoken to the messengers of Jacob, and when he heard the words of his brother, which he had spoken to the messengers of Jacob, Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. Yes, he was greatly troubled. And Jacob prayed to Yehovah, his Elohim, and said, O Yehovah, Elohim of my fathers, Abraham and Isaac, thou didst say unto me when I went away from my father's house, saying, I am Yehovah, Elohim of thy father Abraham, and Elohim of Isaac. Unto thee I will give this land and thy seed after thee, and I will make thy seed as the stars of heaven, and thou shalt spread forth to the four sides of heaven, and in thee and thy seed all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Yes, he knew the promise. He's reminding Yehovah, who promised these words to him, to protect him and his seed, because that's the promise. He knows that Yehovah has got to do what Yehovah says. And thou didst establish thy words, and didst give unto me riches and sons and cattle, and the utmost wishes of my heart didst thou give unto thy servant. Thou didst give unto me all that I asked from thee, so I lack nothing. And thou didst afterwards say to me, return to thy parents, to thy birthplace, and I will still do well with thee. This is the promise when he spoke to him in Haran, when he was telling him to go home, I'll be with you. And now that I have come, and thou did deliver me from Laban, I shall fall into the hands of Esau, who shall slay me, yea, together with the mothers and the sons. We're going to find out it's Yeladim that they're saying right now, not so much sons. Now, therefore, O Yehovah Elohim, deliver me, I pray thee, also from the hand of my brother Esau. For I am greatly afraid of him. Yes, Esau has been messing with him for so long. Remember, after he got the birthright, Jacob fled to Shem and Eber's house. When Shem died, he came back home. That's when they got the blessing, and he got to run away again from his brother. And if there's no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Abraham, my father, and my father Isaac. For I know that through kindness and mercy I have acquired this wealth, through thy kindness. Now therefore I beseech thee, deliver me this day with thy kindness, and to answer me. And Jacob ceased praying to Yehovah, and he divided the people that were with him, with the flocks and the cattle, into two camps. And he gave half to the care of Damascus,
Hopefully he'll come back. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering.
I guess we lost my.
Yeah, he'll probably be back. Probably having computer problems.
Yeah. It was just getting good, too.
There he is.
I don't have him.
Sorry, I lost my connection.
I don't have you, Michael.
You can't hear him?
You can't hear me?
I can't see you,
Well, I'm not up yet.
but I can hear you. There you are.
All right, good. All right, let's go back to where I was. I think it's still recording. And Jacob ceased praying to Yehovah, and he divided the people that were with him with the flocks and the cattle into two camps. These are the Jews. This is the God's camp that came to him. Damasek, the son of Eliezer, Abraham's servant, for one camp with his seed, and the other half he gave to the care of his brother Elianas, the son of Eliezer, for a camp with his seed. So 2 camps. He's dividing them up, and he commanded them, saying, "Keep yourselves at a distance with your camps. Do not come near each other. And if Esau comes to one camp and slay it, the other camp at a distance from it will escape from him." He's planning for the worst, expecting the best, planning for the worst. And Jacob tarried that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instruction concerning the forces and his sons. And Jacob heard the prayer. And Yehovah heard the prayer of Jacob that day, and Yehovah then delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esau. How did he do it? Here it is. We don't know this in Torah. And Yehovah sent 3 angels of the angels of heaven, messengers of heaven. Yeah, I think these probably are angels. And they went before Esau and came to him. Look what happens. And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men, riding upon horses furnished with all sorts of war instruments. And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps, with 4 chiefs to them. And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men towards his brother Jacob. And this camp ran towards Esau and his people and terrified them. Esau fell off his horse in alarm, and all the men separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid. Yes, here's 500 men coming at you. He's got, what they say, 400 men. But these guys are well armed. And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the warlike men answered, saying, "Surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is our Elohim's servants, the servants of Elohim. And who can stand against us?" And Esau said to them, listen what he says, "Oh, then, my Lord, and brother Jacob is your Lord. Oh, then, my Lord, and brother Jacob is thy Lord, whom I have not seen for these 20 years. And now I have this day come to see him. Do not treat me in this manner." Talking about a liar. He's got to get his attitude adjusted. And the angels answered him, saying, as Yehovah liveth. They're swearing in the name of Yehovah. What they say, they're going to do. We're not Jacob, of whom thou speakest thy brother. We had not let one remaining from thee and thy people, but only on account of Jacob we will do nothing to them. And this got passed from Esau and his men, and it went away. And Esau and his men had gone from them about a league when, I don't know how long a league is, when the second camp came towards him with all sorts of weapons. They also did unto Esau and his men as the first camp had done. And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came towards him. And they were terrified. And Esau fell off his horse, and the whole camp cried out and said, surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Elohim, and who can stand against us? Well, now Esau is going to speak again. And Esau again answered, saying, oh, then Jacob is my master, my Adonai, and your Adonai is my brother. And for 20 years I have not seen his countenance. And hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him. And you treat me in this manner?
We can't see your screen, Michael.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Oh, it says it's up.
I can see it.
Oh, you can? Okay, I guess it's just me. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, it's up. I've got it up. As I say, I can turn it off and turn it back on. Okay, good. I'm glad that's okay then. So they answered and said, this is the third group now. They answered and said unto him, as Yehovah liveth, again swearing in Yehovah's name, we're not Jacob thy brother, and thou didst say, we had not left a remnant from thee and thy men. But on account of Jacob, of whom thou speakest, being thy brother, we will not meddle with thee or thy men. And the third camp passed from them, and he still continued on the road with his men towards Jacob. And the fourth camp came towards him, and they also did unto him as his men as the others had done. And when Esau beheld the evil which the four angels had done to him and his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Jacob. Look at that. The fear of Jacob is now in his heart. And he went to meet him in peace. Oh, amazing. And Esau concealed his hatred against Jacob because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Jacob. And because he imagined that the four camps that had lighted upon were Jacob's servants. Yeah, that's what he's imagining, that these men are coming from Jacob. And Jacob tarried that night with his servants in their camps. And he resolved with his servants to give unto Esau a present from all that he had with him. Jacob doesn't even know this happened. He's been delivered. He doesn't even know he's been delivered. He's still figuring out how he's going to give presents to Esau. Resolved with his servants to give unto Esau a present from all that he had and from all his property. And Jacob rose up in the morning, he and his men, and they chose from amongst the cattle a present for Esau. And this is the amount of the present which Jacob chose from his flocks, sheep and goats, to give unto his brother Esau. And he selected 240 head of the flocks. He selected from the camels and the asses 30 each. And of the herd, the cows, bulls, he chose 50 kine. And he put them in 10 droves, and he placed each sort by itself, and he delivered them into the hands of 10 servants, 10 droves, 10 servants, each drove by itself. And he commanded them and said to them, keep yourselves at a distance from each other, and put a space between the droves when Esau and those who are with him shall meet thee, and ask thee, well, it's probably you right now because he's talking to them as a group, but they're going to do it individually, saying, whose are you? And whither do you go? And to whom do you belong? All this before you. You shall say unto them, we are the servants of Jacob, and we come to meet Esau in peace. And behold, Jacob's cometh behind us. And that which is before us is a present from Jacob to his brother Esau. And if they shall say unto thee, why does he delay behind thee from coming to meet his brother and to see his face? Then you shall say unto them, surely he cometh joyfully behind us to meet his brother, for he said, I will appease him with the present that goes to him, and after this I will see his face. Peradventure he will accept me. This is just a shot in the dark for Jacob. So the whole present passed on in the hands of his servants, and went before him on that day, and he lodged that night with his camps by the border of the brook Jabbok. And he rose up in the midst of the night, and he took his women and his maidservants and all belonging to him, and that night passed them over the ford Jabbok. They're on the south side right now. He's moving them back across the river, keeping them as safe as possible. He's staying on this side. And when he had passed all belonging to him over the brook Jabbok, Jacob was left by himself. It says, and a man met him, and he wrestled with him that night until the break of day, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh, Yarek, was out of joint through the wrestling with him. Yeah, I think this was the hernia that he had gotten. And at the break of day, the man left Jacob there. Now, this doesn't say anything about Jacob being named Israel. Torah does say it, but it also says it 3 chapters later. So there's something going on here. He's not going to get the name twice. I think that this portion in Torah where it says he was named Israel is in error. Doesn't make sense. Makes more sense where he's actually going to be given that name, and we'll talk about it when we get there. At the break of day, the man left Jacob there, and he blessed him and went away. And Jacob passed the brook at the break of day, and he halted upon his thigh, his Yarek. He's in pain. And the sun rose upon him when he had passed the brook. And he came to the place of his cattle and his sons. And they went till midday, and whilst they were going, the present was going before them. Now it says, and Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was at a distance, coming along with many men, about 400, and Jacob was greatly afraid of his brother. And Jacob hastened and divided his sons and his wives and his handmaids and his daughter Dinah he put in a chest. You know, I've often wondered if maybe there was more than one daughter. Because a lot of times they say, and their sister such and such, because she's going to play a major role later on. But I think that he only had the one daughter because it's saying he's only putting Dinah in the chest, not the others. It says, and delivered her into the hands of his servants. She's hidden. And he passed before his sons and his wives. He's going ahead of them to meet his brother, and he bowed down to the ground. Yea, he bowed down 7 times until he approached his brother. Walk a little bit, bow down, walk a little bit, bow down, walk a little bit, bow down, 7 times. And Elohim caused Jacob to find grace and favor in the sight of Esau and his men. For Elohim heard the prayer of Jacob. Yehovah is faithful to do what he says he's going to do. Don't bet against it, you guys. And the fear of Yaakov and his terror fell upon his brother Esau. For Esau was the fear of Jacob, and his terror fell upon his brother Esau. Look at that. Instead of Jacob being afraid of Esau, Esau is afraid of Jacob. For Esau was greatly afraid of Jacob for what Elohim's messengers had done to Esau. And Esau's anger against Jacob was turned to kindness. Yeah, amazing how well the fear of Elohim works. And when Esau saw Jacob running towards him, he also ran towards him and embraced him, and he fell upon his neck, and they kissed and they wept. And Elohim put fear and kindness toward Jacob in the heart of the men that came with Esau. And they also kissed Jacob and embraced him. Remember, they're kind of like his nephews. Some of them, anyway. Eliphaz and his brothers, and also Eliphaz, the son of Esau, and his 4 brothers. 4 brothers, this is so weird. We're going to see this when we get to chapter 36. We've talked about it a lot. Adah bore Eliphaz to Esau, Basemath bore Reuel. Remember, Adah is Basemath, so. And then we had Ahiblamah. She did bear 3 sons, Yehus, Ya'alam, and Korah. What were Jacob? And they kissed him and embraced him, for the fear of Jacob had fallen upon them all. Yes, oh, look at that. Respect. And Esau lifted up his eyes and saw the women with their offspring, the Yeladim of Jacob, children. I'm saying Yeladim because we're going to see this in Torah. It does not say Benim, it says Yeladim. Young men walking behind Jacob and bowing along the road to Esau. And Esau said unto Jacob, who are these with thee, my brother? Are they thy Yeladim or thy Evadim? Servants, thy children are thy servants. And Jacob answered Esau and said, these are my Yeladim, which Elohim has graciously given thy servants. Keep in mind, the eldest of these children is Simeon. He is 12 years old. The other ones are all younger than him. Dinah is like 7 right now. By the time they get to Shechem, she's going to be 8. They are my Yeladim, which Elohim has graciously given to thy servant. And whilst Jacob was speaking to Esau and his men, Esau beheld the whole camp. And he said unto Jacob, whence did thou get the whole of the camp that I met yesterday? Oh, you know what? Both Torah and Yasher say something similar. We're going to see that next. We're going to go to Torah right after we finish this. Whence did thou get the whole camp that I met yesterday? He's talking about the 2,000 men that met him on the road. Jacob is totally oblivious to this. Jacob, in his mind, is thinking about the gifts that he sent ahead. But this is not what Esau is talking about. And Jacob said, to find favor in thy sight, my Lord, Adonai. It is that which Elohim graciously gave to thy servant. You see, they're talking about two different things right now. Neither one of them knows what's going on. And the present came before Esau. Well, Esau must know what's going on. I mean, he does. But Jacob is oblivious to what Yehovah has done for him. And the present came before Esau, and Jacob pressed Esau, saying, take, I pray thee, the present that I have brought to my Lord. And Esau said, wherefore is this my purpose? Keep that which thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, it is incumbent upon me to give all this, since I have seen thy face, that thou still liveth in peace. He's very grateful, and he wants to keep him appeased. And Esau refused to take the present. And Jacob said unto him, I beseech thee, Adonai, if now I have found favor in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. For I have therefore seen thy face, as though I have seen a God-like face. Seen the face of God? I don't know. Because thou wast pleased with me. And Esau took the present. And Jacob also gave unto Esau silver and gold and bdellium. He pressed him so much that he took them. So bdellium, what is bdellium? I have no idea what bdellium is. And Esau divided the cattle that were in the camp, and he gave half to the men. Now this is Esau. With the present that he's going to receive, it says he gave the half of the men he gave half to the men that came with him, for they had come on hire. They weren't here just to help Esau. They were planning on getting paid. And so this is really good that that Jacob's giving this present, because now he can appease all these men as well. And the other half he delivered into the hands of his sons. His seed probably is what it's saying. And the silver and the gold and bdellium he gave into the hands of Eliphaz, his eldest son. And Esau said unto Jacob, let us remain with thee, and we will go slowly along with thee until thou comes to my place with me, that we may dwell there together. Is this, yeah, that's not going to happen. No, he's going to Canaan. And Jacob answered his brother and said, I would do as my Adonai, as Adonai speaketh unto me. But Adonai knows that the sons, the Yeladim, are tender, and the flocks and the herd with their young who are with me go but slowly. For if they went swiftly, they would all die. For thou knowest their burden and their fatigue. Therefore, let Adonai pass on before his servant, and I will go on slowly for the sake of the sons, Yeladim, and the flocks, until I come to my Lord's place in Seir. Well, that's not going to happen. Jacob is lying. And Esau said to Jacob, I will place with thee some of the people that are with me to take care of thee in the road, to bear thy fatigue and burden. And he said, What need is it, my Lord, if I may find grace in thy sight? Behold, I will come unto thee to Seir. I will come unto thee to Seir, to dwell there together as thou hast spoken. Go thou then with thy people, for I will follow thee. Jacob said this to Esau in order to remove Esau and his men from him. Yeah, this is the truth. So that Jacob might afterwards go to his father's house to the land of Canaan. And Esau hearkened to the voice of Jacob. And Esau returned with the 400 men that were with him on the road to Seir. And Jacob and all belonging to him went that day as far as the extremity of the land of Canaan to its border, as in its borders. I think you're going to Sukkot. To Sukkot, or at Sukkot, I suppose. And he remained there for some time. He's going to remain in Sukkot for some time. How long is he actually going to remain there? I wonder. We're going to go now to 33. 33 is not a terribly long chapter, but I want to go through it today with you because it's talking about the same context of material. Now Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and there Esau was coming with him with 400 men, and he divided his, this is, what is the word they use here? I guess I don't have it. Please let me go. I want to just check it for just a second. Is it sons or Yeladim? Let's find out. 400 men, his men. Is Yeladim. There it is right there. Yeladim. His Yeladim. Young men. So all the words here where it says children is Yeladim. So he divided Yeladim among Leah, Rachel, and the two servants. And he put the maidservants and their Yeladim in front. Leah and her Yeladim behind, and Rachel and Joseph last. I think it's interesting that we have, no, this says Rachel and Joseph last. I thought it said Joseph and Rachel last. Yeah, it does. Rachel and Joseph. Okay, so yeah, it put some other ahead of the son. Okay, it seemed like maybe in Yasher they put Joseph before Rachel. Okay, let's go back. Sorry for the interruption. I'm learning. I'm constantly learning. Here is Yeladim. This is the word for Yeladim. A lad, an offspring, boy, child, young man. This would be their young sons, their sons, her sons with the hay. It shows her possession, so it changes from how it's being used, but it's all Yeladim. Then he crossed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near his brother. But Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. What's going on? He had just gotten word that Esau was coming to deal with him. And now Esau's attitude has completely changed. In Torah, we have no clue what's happened. What's going on? Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. I put except for Yasher, we have no idea what's actually happened here and why Esau had such a sudden and great change of heart. Does Torah once again make Esau look like a good guy? I have to say, I think it does. We just don't know what's going on. They make Esau look like a good guy. They make Laban look like a good guy. They make Jacob look like he's paranoid. But he had significant reason to be afraid. Do you see what's going on? Why is this the case in Torah? Why are they always making Esau look like the good guy and Jacob look like the bad guy? You should ask yourself these questions. Something's going on with our writings here. He lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the Yeladim and said, "Who are these with you?" So he said, "The Yeladim whom Elohim has graciously given thy servants." Then the maidservants came near, and they and their children, and bowed down. There it is, the maidservants, the shifkot came. This is more than one maidservant. Shifkot. Maidservants. So the maidservants came near, they and their Yeladim, and bowed down. And Leah also came near with her children, and they bowed down before Joseph. And afterwards, Joseph and Rachel, there it is. Yeah, this says Joseph and Rachel here, not Rachel and Joseph. I think it's interesting they're putting Joseph before Rachel. Why? They did it differently up here. So strange. I thought I had seen it. Then Esau said, "What do you mean by all this company?" See, he's talking now. This is Esau. "What do you mean by all this company which I met?" Jacob thinks he's talking about the herds of cows that were with his servants. But this is not what Esau's talking about. He's talking about the troops, the 2,000 troops divided into 4 units that attacked him and surrounded him. I think Esau's talking about the 400 troops. 400, no, 2,000. Let's just do it this way. 2,000 troops that terrified him. And Jacob seems to think he's talking about the droves, the many gifts of livestock that he sent to Esau. Some want to translate this company as troop. This company or troop as a drove, and that seems to be a mistake. Yeah, they're talking about company. Let's take a look at that word company. Then he delivered, then Adar, arrangement, muster, herd, droves. Let's look at this for just a second. You got to learn. What do you mean by all this encampment? See, this is not the same word. Here they were using this for droves. Esau is using a word, mekana. It's kind of the same idea. Remember when we talk makanayim? Mekana is the singular. Makanayim is 2 camps. That's what the name was. God's camp, his camp. So now he's talking about the encampment that came towards him, the troops that came towards him, the army that came towards him. And Jacob is thinking about droves. Interesting. Which I met. And he said, "These are to find favor in the sight of my Lord." Yehovah sent him to find favor in the sight of Yehovah, in the sight of his Lord, in the sight of Esau. Yeah. But Esau said, "I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have." So Esau just dropped it. He didn't even bring it up after that. Jacob is completely unaware of what Yehovah has actually done. I don't know when he's going to find out, or when he did find out. Obviously he did. It's written here. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have for yourself. And Jacob said, no, please, if I have now found favor in your sight, then receive my present from my hand, inasmuch as I have seen your face as though I have seen the face of Elohim. Yes, they'd say the face of Elohim. Again, we could look that up quickly. And I've seen face. Yeah. As I have seen Elohim, it says Elohim's face. It doesn't say the face of Elohim. Seen Elohim's face and was pleased. Go back. As I've seen Elohim's face and you were pleased with me, please take my blessing that is brought to thee, because Elohim has dwelt graciously with me, and because I have enough. So he urged him, and he took it. Then Esau said, let us take our journey. Let us go, and I will go before thee. And Jacob said to him, my Lord, Adonai knows that the Yeladim are weak, and the flocks. Remember, his eldest is 12. Joseph, she's holding Joseph probably, are weak. The flocks and the herds are nursing with me. If a man should drive them hard one day, all the flock would die. Please let my Lord go. Please let Adonai go on ahead before his servants. I will lead slowly at a pace which the livestock that go before me and the Yeladim are able to endure until I come to my Lord in Sair. Yes, he's lying to him. He never went to Sair, has no intention of going to Sair. And Esau said, now let me leave with thee some of the people who are with me. But he said, what need is there? Let me find favor in thy sight, my Lord. So Esau returned that day in the way to Sair, and Jacob journeyed to Sukkot, built himself a house and made booths. Now, this is kind of interesting to me. Sukkot seems to be a name. It says built for himself a bayit, a house. That's kind of what it is, a house, I guess. It doesn't make sense. And made booths, sukkot, multiple sukkah. Sukkah is a temporary dwelling place. He made sukkot, multiple sukkah, for his livestock. Therefore, the name of the place is called Sukkot. Sukkot, and here, see how they actually have it. Sukkot, spelled with the Vav, with the Vav, and without the Vav. They're both Sukkot, but one is a plural of sukkah, and the other one seems to be a place. They called it a place. Then Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. When he came from Haran, and pitched his tent before the city. It says Haran because Haran is in Haran. And Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. And when he came from Haran, he pitched his tent before the city. Pitched his tent. What it's saying is he can't, is what we're talking about. I've got it here. Come on. Refresh. It's taking its sweet time. There it goes. Yeah. And he can't. It says, and he can't. There it is. The word that we're talking about is kana. Kana means camp. abstract beauty. The picture het is a picture of a wall, and the noon is a picture of the seed, meaning to continue. Combine these mean wall continues. A nomad camp consisted of many family tents, which make up the clan camp. The camp can have as many as 50 tents. So he's got a large campground is what he's creating right now. I don't know why they were talking about a bayit, a house. We're talking about a large camping area, a large gathering place. And he bought the parcel of land where he pitched his tent, where he camped, from, it says, Hamar's seed, Shechem's father. Why does it say Hamar's seed? We're introducing Shechem right now. We're talking about Hamar's seed. I think we're talking about Hamar's seed for one very important reason, because we're changing ownership from Hamar's seed, who would own it from generation to generation to generation, to Jacob's seed, who are now going to own it from generation to generation to generation. Same thing with what we did at the cave of Machpelah. The Machpelah cave left the Heth seed and became Abraham's seed forever and ever and ever. This is permanent. This is a change of property forever. I think it's interesting that they say seed. And here, B'nai, Kamar. Then he erected an altar there. So this is the first altar. I don't think that Jacob has built an altar since the last one that he built in Bethel. When he had been robbed by Eliphaz, he had turned back to his father, came to Bethel. Yehovah spoke to him, Bethel, the house of El, and made a promise to him to continue on his road. He went to Haran with nothing but the staff in his hand and the clothes on his back. He had nothing else. And now he's returning. And he erected an altar there and called it Elohim Israel. Elohim, Israel's Elohim. I don't know. El is short for Elohim. Elohim, Israel, is Israel's El. Israel's Elohim. So to put it in the vernacular of English, which I hate God, I think we have no idea what a God is. I think, so help me God, that we pray. It's not even the same God. No, but those priests of Baal, no, their God is Satan, Baal. Israel's Elohim, El. Israel's Elohim. That's what he's making the altar to there, and called it El Elohi Israel. Yisrael. And that's the end for today. Oh, we are about to get into some very, very exciting things in the next few weeks. We are going to see things that are going to be amazing. Yeah, they're coming from Yasher for the most part, but they're going to blow your minds. And you're going to get a pre-look. Is that the word I want? What do you call it when you see a preview of what is going to happen in the last days? Oh my goodness. I'm so excited that we're going to be going there soon. You guys, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. Yehovah bless you and keep you. Thanks so much. Bye now.